So we now have WandaVision episode 7. This episode is called Breaking the Fourth Wall. And if you don't want to get anything spoiled for you within this episode, do not watch this review because this review is going to contain full spoilers for the episode. You've been warned. Okay, so I would say it is safe to say episode 7 is the weakest of the season or of the series so far. That's not to say it's a bad episode. I did enjoy the episode, but overall, not really an awful amount happened. This is the episode that takes place in the 2010s era sitcoms, heavily taking it off Modern Family, like pretty much talking to the camera, same way Claire would in that show. Very, very similar to Modern Family. The intro as well, very Office-esque. Thought that was quite cool. We actually see Vision do the gym stare at one point. So there's a load of kind of Office, mostly Modern Family kind of shoehorn stuff in there that actually was quite funny, because I actually said in my last review for episode 6, watching Modern Family at the moment, so it's quite cool to see them play that aspect into it. But continuing from last week, Wanda has taken a step back from everything, just kind of relaxed, because she says she has to give herself a timeout after what happened last week. But we do see that she has stopped the hex. At the end of episode 6, we see the hex is still going, so I was under the impression that I was just going to keep going, and then of course Doctor Strange or someone else would have to come in and help out, but she has stopped the hex. I think she said 25 meters, maybe more, 25k maybe, I don't really know, 25 miles, but I know it's been a good amount of distance that she has taken in, because the town has expanded by so much. She is using so much of her energy that you see stuff throughout their houses jumping in between the areas. You actually see Billy and Tommy playing their video game, and it's jumping. It starts off, I say, with PS3 maybe, jumps back to the Super Nintendo, just jumps back all over the place because Wanda just cannot control it. At the moment, we do also see Vision waking up in the middle of the field where he was at the end of episode 6. I was assuming that Vision was actually going to wake up back in their house, and his memory was just going to kind of be restart from when the kids were first born, rather than him having all the memories from episode 6. But no, Vision does have his memories from episode 6, so I was quite surprised with that. We do see Darcy is actually part of the circus, which I imagine everyone around the world, when they seen that, kind of groaned in disappointment together, because I really wanted to see her as a waitress, and most people wanted to see her as a waitress because of course she was a waitress on TV for years with Two Broke Girls. So I was just instantly disappointed when I seen her part of the circus. But Vision does free her, which I thought it was pretty cool, because they actually got to see Darcy rather than whatever she was playing. Then Darcy fills Vision in on everything that's happened to him since he was born. But born, what's that, like 7 years for him? 8 years, and she fills him in completely. And it was more interesting the fact that now Vision knows where he came from, what he is. He's not wondering, so I kind of like that Vision knows who he is. But the Vision and Darcy storyline, it just felt, it didn't really need to be there. It kind of felt like, okay, we need Vision to know his backstory. Wanda's not going to tell him. We'll put Darcy inside the hex. Darcy will tell him, and we'll just take it from there. I just felt like the whole storyline with them just felt like, okay, we got to get this Vision from A to B. What's the quickest and easiest way to get him? Okay, we'll just throw Darcy in there. As the episode's progressing on, they are trying to make their way back to the house, but everything on their path just keeps stopping them. Either roadworks or school, kids crossing. Vision immediately just flies off, and then that's the end of the Darcy and Vision storyline, thankfully, because, as I said, I wasn't really a big fan of that one. But we do see Monica and Jimmy. They get not reunited, but they meet up with these soldiers, and some people are saying this soldier was the engineer Monica was talking about. I hope it's not. I imagine it's not the engineer, because I just assumed it was some random soldier. But this woman does bring this big kind of massive tank. They said it was actually a space truck, and then Monica was going to drive it straight into the hex. There's meant to be no problem at all, but she gets up to it, and then the truck starts to flip up on its side. The front of the truck starts turning into a car from what looked to be like the late 90s, early 2000s. And of course the truck doesn't go through, but Monica says, no, I'm going to go in there. She runs straight into the hex, and in doing so, she has unlocked powers. And I knew she was going to get her powers, but I was under the assumption that she was going to get her powers in Captain Marvel, so I was quite surprised that we actually see her get her powers in WandaVision. I'm not really sure what her powers are. I don't actually know her powers. I just know that she does get powers. She does become a superhero called Photon, as far as I know. So I was just waiting to see what these powers are. I actually really couldn't even gather in the episode what her powers were. But she does make her way over to Wanda, and Wanda and her have a little bit of a small bit of an argument, small bit of a little fight. Wanda does fuck Monica out of the house, and they're starting to fight. But as they kind of having this shouting match at each other, Monica's shouting, saying, I lost people. It's not just you, everyone lost people. But I had to kind of get over it, and I had to move on. And you can see as this discussion was going on, you see in Wanda's mind, she's thinking, okay, she's got a point, and you can see her kind of coming around to Monica's side of things. Quickly, Agnes comes over, and Agnes kind of takes Monica away, or takes Wanda away, brings her into Agnes's house. And I was just thinking, okay, Agnes, she's probably just being a neighborly friend, but also I was thinking, okay, something is definitely happening here. And the thing that everyone thought from, I actually assumed this was even happening way before the series even started. A few things throughout the series that kind of let me thinking, okay, maybe it's not her, but of course it is. Agnes is Agatha Harkness. Wasn't really a surprise. I think everyone was thinking, it's not really that surprise. I've seen Kat Dennings actually on Instagram was a stand-in who said, don't spoil this episode, but I think everyone knew who she was. But the way they revealed it, I thought was fantastic. First up, you see her in the house. You see Wanda in the house, and the house is, for the neighborhood they're in, it's a creepy ass house. You see kind of bugs just flying around the place. Bloody hell, Wanda goes downstairs. We see this dungeon. It's like a dungeon, witch cave, or whatever you want to call it. You see her walking in there. You see this book that looked very similar to the books that were in Doctor Strange in the Ancient One's library. So I imagine during the 5-year time skip in between Infinity War and Endgame, I imagine Agatha went in there, stole that book, because of course Doctor Strange wasn't there. Moving forward, but she has the book, but she does reveal herself to Wanda as Agatha Harkness, and I love how they did it. They did the kind of like a song, and Agatha going across all of the different episodes, showing how she kind of altered stuff. You see that she was actually behind Quicksilver, so everyone who said this is not Quicksilver, who is it? They were right, because it was Agatha taking part. But we actually really don't know, is this guy just some normal guy from the village? Did she take him from the X-Men multiverse? I have no idea. Really intrigued to see what's going to happen with episode 8 in that kind of element, because I want to know more about Agatha. I really, really hope they don't kill her off the series. I want her to progress and continue on to just see so much more with this character, not only just for the character, but I also just really like Kathryn Hahn, so I'd love to see her continue on within the MCU. I don't know what's going to happen with Wanda. I know there's a clip, kind of like a trailer out there that says this is our home, let's fight for it, between her and Vision. So they do fight. Everyone's wondering who is against. I don't know if it's going to be Agatha, because I'm not under the impression that Agatha is kind of against them. It seems like she was nearly working with Wanda, so I don't know what's going to happen there. I'd be kind of surprised if they did fight each other, but I am really intrigued to see what's going to happen with the remainder, because we got 2 episodes left. I don't know how long they're going to be. I was under the impression actually going into this episode that it was an hour long, so I was quite disappointed when I found out it wasn't an hour long, but hopefully the next couple of episodes are going to be longer. We know that what's his name, Hayward, director of Sword, was actually, he had Vision not to like make weapons of him. He was actually trying to rebuild Vision and reprogram him. I don't think he was trying to reprogram him to make Vision, but to make Vision a living weapon that they can use. But we know that's what his original plan was, so he wants to get in there to get Vision, not to really save the people in there. But as always, WandaVision, they answer questions for you. They even have it since the start, but they also give you so many more questions. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with episode 8 and 9, just to see how the show's going to wrap up. I'm really excited to see how this series as a whole is going to tie into Doctor Strange 2 as well as Spider-Man 3. Who is this mystery cameo that's on the Luke Skywalker level that Elizabeth Olsen was talking about? We know that it was not Pietro, because of course it wasn't Pietro. And also, who is this mystery actor that Paul Bettany has said he's always wanted to work with his entire life? He actually came out this week and said it was actually not Evan Peters. So it even lets up more of a mystery of who is this actor? Who is this character? Really, really excited. But as a whole with this episode, I did find it disappointing. I was expecting more from the episode, but as a whole, I really felt like this episode was just a filler episode. I felt like they had some stuff they just had to get wrapped up, so they just quickly wrapped it up within this episode, because I just didn't really like this episode as much. I think it is by far the weakest of the series. I had fun with it, it just is the weakest of the series. But if you want to hear my thoughts on episode 8 as well as episode 9, make sure you click the subscribe button so you can come back and see my reviews of both of those episodes, which will be next week and then of course the week after that. So if you want to see both of those videos, click that subscribe button, and as always, thanks for watching.